Hello and welcome to A Game of Two Halves, the show created by our very own third-year sports journalism students here at the University of South Wales. Today, we will be bringing you all the latest updates from sports across the region. I'm your host Archie Tooth, and first, let's bring you the headlines. More than 20,000 women and girls are now registered to play football in Wales, a 58% increase from just 3 years ago. Steve Tandy insists Wales can be a team to avoid at the upcoming 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. And in the snooker, Mark Williams has been knocked out of the UK Championship by Pang Junchu following an embarrassing blunder. First up, let's take a look at Wales's draw for the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia.
I'm here outside the Principality Stadium, the home of Welsh rugby, as Wales learn their fate for 2027's World Cup in Australia. Wales have been drawn in Pool F alongside Tonga and Zimbabwe, but the real story comes with their rivals being drawn in the same group in England. Wales will be aiming to turn round their fortunes by the time the World Cup comes around, having lost 3 of their 4 games in the recent Quilter Nations series. A 24-23 victory over Japan was the only bright spark of the campaign. The victory was their first at home for a long, painful 2-year period. Last time out against England didn't go too well for the Welsh, with a 68-14 loss back in March in the Six Nations. 2 easier opponents will fill Steve Tandy's men with confidence that they can at least make it out of their pool, but after a record 73-0 loss to South Africa last time out, going to be a pivotal 2 years in their development.
Next up, Rugby League has been described as being systematically underfunded in Wales, with just over £47,000 available for the country as a whole. We will learn about the Cardiff Demons, a Wales-based women's rugby league side, and how the lack of funding has affected them.
When we think of Welsh rugby, we often think of packed-out stadiums and some of the best players in the world. But it's not just rugby union that's struggling here at the moment. Rugby league in Wales is on the verge of extinction. Rugby league is the lesser played version of rugby, played with a different amount of players, different restarts, and a different point scoring system.
The game originates from the north of England in 1895 and was formed due to a dispute in which working class players weren't compensated for lost funds. The north remains a hub for the sport, with the majority of Super League teams residing there. But the game has also reached a global scale, with governing bodies across the world, including Wales. For those who aren't familiar, here are some of the key rule differences up on the screen.
Whilst the 2 games are fundamentally very similar, they couldn't be viewed in a more different light by the governing bodies. The funding allocated for league by the Senedd sits at just over £47,000. A mere tiny sum in comparison to the 6- and 7-figure sums that other sports receive. For reference, rugby union in Wales is set to receive £40 million over the next 5 years. So, for a country so mad for the game of rugby, where's it all gone wrong? James Davies, the chairman of Welsh Rugby League, has called for an even playing field, claiming the sport has been systematically underfunded. Many of Wales' clubs are powered by volunteers, a model that simply doesn't allow for adequate growth in the same way as other sports. Davies argued that the rugby league team are currently higher ranked in the world than their union counterparts, and questioned how this disparity in funding could be possible. The Cardiff Demons are a women's rugby league team, one of the only standalone women's league teams in the country. Based in Llanrumney, they play in the Betfred Super League South and have enjoyed back-to-back titles. They also serve as an important developmental pathway for the Welsh national team. A team like the Demons epitomises the gritty spirit of Welsh rugby, competing against English teams who in comparison receive around £3 million a year of funding. Considering the country as a whole receives less than some high-level union players, it's unrealistic to imagine that any Welsh league players are even close to being paid for their services. This is another factor that hinders the amount that they are able to play, balancing hobbies with a full-time job. Youth teams also face significant challenges from the lack of funding, as it makes developing the next generation infinitely harder for players and coaches. Now, Wales has been recognised as a priority nation by Rugby League's world governing body back in April, so more funds should follow. But if this sport is to continue in Wales, it's going to be thanks to all the volunteers who will still have to give up their hard-earned time.
Now, next up, we will hear from one of our second year students, Ellis Shepherd, about his experiences on the course so far and reminisce on a particularly special day in shaping his love for sport.
Got into it through a mate, to be honest. Some of you might know just graduated. Jake Madiford was in my school, did our A levels, and he just told me what he was doing. So I thought I'd like the idea of it and just joined the course. Just experiences, to be honest. Like match reporting on Wales, Australia was a key highlight last year, and some of the experiences you get on this course you won't find anywhere else. I've always been a Cardiff fan, so just seeing how organised and set up my home club are, especially when I've joined this course, you can see how well they run. So I've been supporting Cardiff since I grew up, to be honest, at Ninian Park. I was lucky enough to become the mascot of Cardiff Liverpool in the 2013 Carabao Cup final, which is a memory I'll never forget. So I won a competition at Derby at home. Just a random raffle, they pulled my seat out. I had to do an interview on the pitch, and then in the coming weeks they organised my travel, tickets, kit, a tour around Wembley. They sorted all my family out with tickets, travel, everything. It was unbelievable. I met all of the players, all 22 of them, shook hands. Walked out with Mark Hudson. Peter Whittingham was my all-time favourite player, and he was vice captain. So I kicked the ball around with him and Mark Hudson for a good 10 minutes, which is on TV, which is pretty surreal. On camera, like I am now, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I hate the sound of my own voice, but that's something I'm trying to get used to. So I'm not starting there yet, but for TV projects, I'm kind of looking forward to, because again, that'll push me out of my comfort zone.
We are now joined in the studio by our football expert Ben Thomas to discuss Wales's potential route to next year's World Cup in the US, Canada and Mexico. So Ben, who is it Wales will be facing to potentially make the tournament then?
So Wales will be kicking off their playoff campaign in March. The first fixture will be at the Cardiff City Stadium against Bosnia and Herzegovina on the 26th of March. If they are to win that, then 5 days later they will face a playoff final against the winners of Italy and Northern Ireland, then for a place at next summer's World Cup.
So if they're successful in this playoff run, who will they potentially play in the group stage then at the World Cup?
So the draw for the World Cup has already taken place. If Wales were to book a place at next summer's competition, they will be placed in Group B alongside one of the competition's host, Canada, as well as Switzerland and Qatar. So you could say that the playoff route is probably harder than the actual fixtures in the group itself, but obviously the main focus is getting through this playoff first.
And as a proud Welshman, obviously with your Welsh shirt on how confident are you that Wales can get through the group and actually make it to the knockout stages?
Well, in terms of the playoffs, I think it's two very difficult fixtures for Wales, both Bosnia and, if they were to get through that, either Italy or Northern Ireland. Is three tough games, but the main benefit Wales do have is the fact that both games will be at home, and we have seen previously when they've had home fixtures. The Poland fixture last time didn't go to plan, but the Ukraine one showed how that can help them book a place at next summer's competition.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Next, we will head down to Cardiff Met's Kincoid campus, where a group of students hosted a charity volleyball event in an effort to raise funds for a very special trip in the new year.
So today we hosted a charity volleyball tournament. We were raising money for Dig Deep. We had about 6 teams attend, around 6 to 7 players, so it's probably about 40 to 50 people who took part. We ran a group stage, then we had a final with lots of prizes, and it was a really good event. Loads of people came, and it was really enjoyable. So we're raising money for the Dig Deep charity. So I'm taking on the challenge of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and in doing so, I'm raising money for Dig Deep. So Dig Deep are an award-winning UK charity who provide clean toilets, water, and sanitation education for the people of Bomet County, Kenya.
And what exactly inspired you to climb Kilimanjaro and also to put on this event?
So climbing Kilimanjaro has always been on my bucket list. It's something that my dad did, so I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. And then putting on this event just seemed like a really simple route to raising some money. I was part of the volleyball club already, and we were able to use the facilities in the hall, and we had some contacts, and we knew that there's a big volleyball community in Cardiff. So it was really good to pull them all together for this event.
How are you preparing for your walk next year?
So I'm probably going to be doing some more fundraisers, maybe some fitness challenges. That would definitely help. And then also just some more local walking, maybe North Wales, Snowdonia, just getting in some more hiking and just getting used to walking the distances. Kilimanjaro isn't a particularly technical climb, it's more of an endurance thing. So it will just be building up that base level of fitness and making sure I'm as fit as I can be.
And then in terms of fundraising, what else have you got planned? You got any more events or any more kind of things like this planned?
There's potential that we might run another volleyball tournament. I think it went down really well, so there's potential that we could run that again maybe in the new year. But I've also got a few different fitness challenges planned. I'm hoping to run one at our local gym, which will be a treadmill challenge where we will be looking to walk the distance that we will walk when we're on Kilimanjaro, but on a treadmill. So that might be the next thing I do.
And what was the best part of today, did you think?
I think the best part of today was just bringing together loads of people who wanted to play volleyball, and it was a tournament that everyone had a lot of fun in, but also we were doing it for a great cause. I think we've raised probably close to £200, which is going to go a really long way to the fundraising goal, and it will make a lot of difference in Kenya when the money gets out there.
And finally, Barrytown recently held their 5-year strategy launch. After suffering some turmoil in recent years, we found out how one of Wales's most historic clubs plans to get back to their best.
I made the trip down to Jenner Park to attend the Barrytown United 5-year strategy launch. A jam-packed Jenner suite was presented with a clear strategy that outlined the many ways that the club is setting itself up for the future.
Beyond and present, they present you the big plan for the next 5 years.
Some big names are in attendance, with current Barrytown manager and former Wales international Steve Jenkins giving a talk alongside FAW CEO Noel Mooney. More speakers included representatives from a local primary school who spoke on Barry's work in the community, and the mayor of the town even made an appearance. To learn more about the plan, I caught up with club secretary Daley Chapman to discuss their ambitions on and off the pitch.
So, as Stephen Jenkins said in his Q&A session, over the next 5 years, your long-term aim is for Barrytown to win the Cymru Premier and to go back into the Champions League. I think in the short term, again, what Steve said was to solidify ourselves as a top 6 team.
The club has undergone some drastic changes over the last decade. A financial collapse in 2013 meant they had to work their way back up from the bottom of Welsh football, and the club is now fully owned by its fans, who played a key role in the discussion. So, how does this plan look from a financial perspective for a self-funded club?
Obviously, to look towards the playing model that we have here as a club, to perhaps develop towards a playing model that allows maybe a few of our players to come in full-time, or whether we develop some form of professional player pathway in which our under-19s are perhaps full-time academy players. I think we've got a lot of work to do, but with the people in the room and everyone that wants everything to happen at this club, I think we can make a success of it.
With such a clear model in place, I think we can all agree it's about time that one of Welsh football's biggest clubs returned to their former glory.
5 years, and how, working with some of you in the room here, they hope to be able to continue to build the club to achieve on the success on the pitch whilst off the pitch.
Thank you for tuning in to the final episode of this season's of A Game of Two Halves. You can catch up with all the previous episodes of Season 4 on our YouTube channel, USW SJTV. I've been your host, Archie Tooth, and from myself and everyone involved with putting this show together, thank you and goodbye.